A circular floor of a building is to be tiled with a ceramic tiles, each side 40 by 40 centimeters. If the perimeter of the floor is 66, calculate correct to the nearest whole number, the number of tiles required to be completely tiled the floor. So this question here is a good word problem question. So as I explained in my previous lesson, when you have a word problem question like this, what you should know first, you need to read the question at least 3 times. When you read the question 3 times, you should be able to point out the key points or the key things in that question that you are going to be tackling. So like in this question here, it's a practical question that a building, a circular building, let's assume this is a building here, this is the floor of the building, and this is part drawing, right? I mean, assuming this is the floor of the building we are talking about, this is a cycle. So the question says a floor of a building is to be tiled with a ceramic tiles, each of the side 40 by 40. That should tell you that that is a typical square. 40 by 40 means this is a kind of shape. You all know what is a tile mean. So this is a tile, and here is 40. This side too is 40. That is 40 by 40 cm is to be used to tie this particular building here. So now what you should know, the question says you should do what? Calculate correct the nearest whole number, the number of tiles required to be completely tie the floor. That is, you should know how many tiles you are going to be using in this to tie this the floor of this building. So things you have to point out here. First, you have to know the area of this building so that you know the number of tiles required to be used in this building. And before you know the area of that building, you also know the perimeter of that building as well, in order to do what? In order to get your radius. Because in a circle, you can have a center and you can have a radius. So now this is the tile we're going to use, and this is the building. So assuming this, let's draw something like this. This is the tile. So how are you going to, how many of them are you going to use in this building? Like this, how many of them you are going to use? So we don't know how many tiles. After doing like how many of them are you going to use in this building? So let's let's start solving the problem. So now we know that the perimeter of a circle is equal to 2 pi r, right? This is the perimeter, this is the formula for perimeter of a circle. And we know that it's given from the question that the perimeter of the floor is what? 66, which means 2 pi r is equal to what? 66, right? So from here, let's look for the radius of that building. So we are going to divide both sides by 2 pi. 2 pi. So pi, we cancel pi. You have r is equal to, and from the question, pi is given as 22 all over 7. So that would be 66 all over 2 times 22 all over 7. So from here, we can continue to say that this is the same thing as 66. So no, 2 times 22, that will give us 44. So 66 times 44, sorry, 62 all over 44 divided by 7, because here the denominator is 1, right? So 2 times 22 and 1 times 7 is what you will have. So now you are going to do what is called a reciprocal by changing the sign. That is 66 divided by 44 all over 7, and this is the same thing as 66 times 7 all over 44. That is, doing the reciprocal, denominator goes up while numerator comes down. So from here, if you do it correctly, you are going to have 10.5 centimeter. Is it given? So 10.5 meters, because this is given a meter, so you are going to have 10.5 meters. So now we know that, therefore our result 10.5 meters. So since we know the value of r, let's look for the area of the building, which is the area of the circular area of the building. So this, from here, know that area of a circle, area of a circle is equal to pi r square, and this is the same thing as, we know that pi is 22 all over 7, so 22 all over 7 times, we know that our r is what, 10.5, so that would be 10.5 all squared. So from here, let's point out our calculator to be able to know. So from here, let's point out our calculator. So 10 times 10, 10.5 squared, 0.5 squared, then times 22 divided by 7, that will give us this give us 346.5 meter square. So this is the area of the building. So now, since we know the area of the building, let's also know the area of the tiles, so that we know how many of them they are going to occupy the area of that building. When we know the area of the when we know the area of the building, let's know the area of the tile too, so that when we know the area of the tile, we know exactly how many tiles will enter into the building. So now we know that the side of 40 by 40 centimeter of what, of the tiles. So now we know that 40 centimeter can be converted to 0.4 meter. That is, you divide this by 100, this is what you have. So now, for you to know the area of this, the area of the tile would be equal to that is length, or length times what, times length, that is length what, that will give you length square, right? Because what is it called? A tile is in a square shape, so that will give us 0.4 what, square. So 0.4 square, let's square it, 0.4 squared, that is 0.16 meters square. So now we know the area of the building, and we also know the area of the tile. So now the area of for how many tiles are they going to use in the building now? The number of tiles they are going to use in the building. Let's divide, for you to know that you divide the total area of the building by the area of what, of the tile, one of the tile. So n is equal to, that is the number of tiles going to be used, is going to give us, we know before that the area of the building was 3, 4, 6, 5. Then the area of the tiles is what, 0.16. So when you divide this, you know the total number of so let's get it 4.6.5 divided by 0.16. So what we have here is 2165.6.63. But the question um say we should do what? This is not going to have unit, because area divided by area would take care of the unit. So number is, so to the nearest, say we should put as approximately to the nearest whole number. So that is 2160 what, 66 tiles. So this is the number of tiles that are going to be used in the building. So guys, turn on the notification bell and subscribe to my channel so that you can follow more of this. Bye.